Hi, how are you all going? I'm just going to make this a quick one today. I was asked a question by a client of mine yesterday. The client said, if you would advise five things for me to start on, five things for me to do, the most important nutritional things in terms of my diet, what would you say I should stick to and what should you say I should do? And this made me think, because there is so much advice out there and there are so many things that I suggest to people to do. But what this made me do is it made me think about, what is it I do? What is it I see as the most important thing to do each and every day for your nutritional status? So in terms of your diet, what five most important things will keep you at optimal health? What five most important nutritional things will have the biggest impact? So it got me thinking about these five things. What is it I do? What is it I do every single day? And if I had to say to my clients and to you guys, what are the five things? What would they be? So I had to have a little bit of a think about that. Because there are so many things that you could be doing. But I had a little bit of a think and kind of narrowed it down to the five things that I think not only impactful and that I think would make the biggest change to your health, your hormones, your happiness, all of that, but would be simple to implement and just be really impactful. Now, the first thing is the quality of the food. Obviously, the quality, where it's sourced from, and really trying to, less is kind of more when it comes to food. So less but more quality, and that definitely goes for meat, fish, seafood, those kind of foods. You're better off. That's my cat mewing to come out. Let me just oh, bless her. She's just mewing to come out. I'll let her out. Let me just do that. There we go. Yeah. Oh, bless her. She doesn't like me being out here without her. This is kind of like our spot. There she is. She's mewing. See? Yeah. See, this is our spot, you see. So a couple of times, so what we do at each night before bed is she sits at the door. It's so cute. She sits at the door, and then we come and sit out here for about 10 minutes and just chill out before bedtime. Oh, okay, so where was I? Number one, the quality of your food and keeping it as real as possible. So the better the quality, the less processed your food, the more nutrient value you're going to get from it. So we're looking at high quality. So if you're going to have meat, you're better off having, smaller portions of meat, smaller portions of grass-fed beef, or smaller portions of grass-fed lamb, smaller portions of pork. Because if you start having things like battery chickens, what that's going to do is it's going to cause inflammation. It's going to back up your liver. It's going to cause toxins in your bowel. So it's actually going to be taking you back. So you're better off, if you can't source a good quality, you're better off kind of adapting your diet to what you can get locally and what the best things are for you. So for instance, if I go to my local organic butcher, or I go to the supermarket and they don't have the meat I want in the quality, then I won't get it. Or if that week I don't have the funds to buy the best quality, then I'll do a vegetarian meal. So that you have to look at that and you have to kind of adapt, and also learn what's local in your area. Go to your fishmonger, learn, have a chat to them about the fish that's been sourced ethically, or the fish that's not farmed, and then you can get an idea of the best quality fish. Really get to know your local area and really get to know who's supplying what and what's the best source that you can get. And if money is an issue, then you just buy less of the better quality, or you just have more veggie days and less meat. Really, that's what it's about. It's about adapting. And the reason this is so important is because if you buy poor quality food and you eat it in high amounts, one, you're not getting the nutrition, but two, your liver has to process those toxins. You're more likely to get infections of Klebsiella, of Citrobacter, of of bacillus kind of species, because the meat will have those infections in it. So this is what I think is one of the most important things. And I know it's hard for families. I know it is difficult because of time restraints, because of finances. But just spend that little bit of time of getting to know your area, getting to know where you can source things, particularly for good price. And certain cuts of meat will be cheaper than other cuts of meat, and certain fish that you can source, like sardines, you can actually source sardines, and they're cheaper than other types of fish, and they're actually good for you. They're really high in essential fatty acids. They're normally wild. So just have a look around, just spend some time getting to know where you can get the best quality food and the less processed food. So when I talk about less processed, I talk about if you're looking for, say, oats, or if you're looking at quinoa, or if you're looking at amaranth, you're better off getting the whole seed, soaking it, rather than getting the rolled oat, which is going to be high in starch and it's processed, it's already been put through a process. So you're better off doing that. So that would be my number one tip. Second tip is eating to sustain you. So learning to eat to sustain you, so you're not constantly needing to eat sugar, you're not constantly needing to refuel. So this is where balancing your macronutrients comes in handy. Learning how to balance your macronutrients, your fats, your carbohydrates, which are your starches, your proteins, and then your vegetables. If you can understand how to balance them for your metabolism, and this takes a little bit of practice and it takes a little bit of insight and just tuning into your hunger cues, tuning into your nutrition intuition. If you can do that, you can get by on 2 to 3 meals a day, which are fully nutritious, which sustain you. They regulate your blood sugar, and they keep you not hungry to the next meal. Now, here's the brilliant thing when you learn to do this. When you learn to balance meals to suit your metabolic type, what you're doing essentially is you're taking the control away from the food. You know how a lot of people, you might be one of these people that wake up in the morning and feel nauseous and can't go and do your exercise without having a banana. That shouldn't be happening. Or you're going on a drive for a few hours and you have to take snacks with you, or you're going out for the afternoon and you have to take snacks after, otherwise you get hangry. That shouldn't be happening. If you learn to balance your meals, you can get by on 2 meals a day to 3 meals a day with balanced blood sugar, low inflammation, keep your hormones balanced. It will balance out your leptin, balance out your ghrelin, all these wonderful things, and it will keep your neurotransmitters also at a nice level, your serotonin and your dopamine, your adrenaline and your cortisol, keep them at a good level. So balancing out your meals and learning to know what's right for you is really important. And everyone is really different. So for instance, for me, I talk about this a lot. Breakfast, for instance, I'm good with protein and high fat and lots of veggies. I don't need any carbohydrate for breakfast. Dinner time, I like to have a little bit more starchy carbs, so I might have my meal with sweet potato, or I might have my meal with basmati rice. Now, if I was to have a full carbohydrate meal on a daily basis, I would start burning the sugar, I would start burning the starch, and I would then start to rely on snacks, and I would need snacks. And a long time ago, I was a grazer. I used to eat lots of snacky foods because I needed that. I was getting by on, say, some sweets, or I was getting by on bread, and then that would burn as a quick fuel, and then I would need a meal, an hour, 2 hours later. And I would find I would get car sickness, I was nauseous in the morning and had to have breakfast because of that reason, because I didn't understand how to balance my meals. So the second tip is learn how to balance your meals to suit you, because you are individual, you are very different from everybody else, and you have different needs. So start, with your meals, start with your breakfast. What you want to feel after each meal is you want to feel energized, you want to feel happy, you want to feel full. Nish has just said it. You have absolutely said exactly what used to happen to me. So I would have fruits for breakfast, and I would just be hungry an hour later. And then the rest of the day, if I had fruit for breakfast, I'd be craving sugars and carbohydrates. Now, some people can get by on fruit for breakfast. There are some nutritionists, vegan nutritionists, who do well on fruit for breakfast, but that's them and that's their individual needs. And when I've done it, or I've done it for a client of mine, you end up with blood sugar imbalance, leptin imbalance. So it's about really understanding your needs. And some people are fine on some fruit for breakfast, but me, I get hungry. So definitely tune into that. How do you feel after your meal, and how long does it sustain you for? If you're fatigued, if you're angry, if you're sick, if you're foggy, if you're fuzzy, if you're in a bad mood, if you're not hungry an hour later, if you're craving sweets, then you know that didn't quite sustain you. So just tune into that. Keep a diary and tune into that, because honestly, once you learn that, it creates a freedom around food that you never knew you had, because you're not reliant on the next meal. You're not reliant on a snack. Hey, oh, hi Erin. Oh, I hope you're well today. The third thing, and this is what a lot of people forget, or it's actually really difficult, and your mum says to this from when you're a young age, how important your vegetables are. They're very important. You should be eating your vegetables. And geez, they are important. They are really important. One of the most important things. So when you do diets like ketogenic diet or paleo diet or caveman diet or any of those diets, please don't forget that vegetables are the most important. And when I'm talking about vegetables, I'm talking about your non-starchy vegetables. These things have energy sources in, they've got electrolytes in, they've got antioxidants in, they've got detoxifiers in, like calcium D-glucarate, they've got enzymes in, anti-aging enzymes that can stop wrinkles, that can stop grey hair, stop all of these things. So they're so very important. So please do not neglect your vegetables. You want to be aiming for 4 to 9 cups of vegetables a day. Non-starchy vegetables like your salad vegetables, your bok choy, your celery, your cucumber, your capsicum, your mushrooms, your kale, your lettuce, your red oak lettuce, all of those kind of things. These will keep you vibrant. There's a bus going past, so it might be a bit noisy for a moment. These will keep you vibrant. They're great for anti-aging, and they're great for balancing out your hormones. With these, you want to be going daily for about 40 grams of fibre, and vegetables are the best way to get fibre. What the fibre essentially does is that it's a prebiotic for your good bacteria, but also it helps to cleanse and detoxify your gut. And it helps to cleanse your liver. So I just shout for a bit, the bus has gone. Okay, that was number 3. So number 4 on the top 5 most important. Number 4, know what foods suit you. Know what foods cause inflammation. What foods cause your joints to ache. What foods cause water retention. What foods cause you to have heavy, painful periods, because they can. Now, the top foods that we know this, and Brenda and I talk about this a lot in the Breakthrough program: wheat, dairy, eggs, and soy. And then there are some others. Those are the top foods that can cause this. So check it out. See how you go. Come off these foods for a couple of weeks and see how your inflammation goes. See how your pain goes. See how your bloating goes. Do you get IBS? And when you come off wheat, do you get less heavy, painful periods? Because wheat can cause heavy, painful bleeding, frequent periods, clotting of your periods. So look into that, check into that, and just remove or reduce the foods that don't suit you. Now, I know wheat doesn't suit me. I know that. Wheat makes me tired, and wheat makes me lethargic, and it actually makes me ache a little bit. But hey, sometimes I like to have a little bit of sourdough, sometimes I like to have a little bit of pasta, but I won't have it on a daily basis because I know that it doesn't suit me. So just have a look at what foods cause issues with you, reduce them, cut them out, do cleanses without them, just to help reset your system. So those are the 4. We've got balancing your macros, eating good quality food, making sure you're getting 4 to 6 cups of vegetables, and then also reducing foods that you know don't suit you. Does sugar cause your blood sugar to go haywire, and then you've got inflammation the next day, moodiness and grouchiness, and you're agitated and fatigued? Like, really tune into that and remove those foods you know don't work for you, and add in yummy alternatives. Number 5. Okay, now number 5, I think, is actually the most important. This is the most important. This is the hardest, and I've thought about this time and time and time and time again. And I even read a book called, I can't remember what it's called. Brenda, can you remember, if you're watching, can you remember what that book is you got me for a Christmas present? I can't remember it now. But I read that, and it really got me thinking about the most important nutritional thing you can do. And it's when you eat, You have to eat guilt-free and you have to be happy. When you eat, you have to not be thinking, oh, this food's bad for me, this food's this. You have to be eating guilt-free. So if you make a decision to have some pasta, if you make a decision to have a glass of wine, if you make a decision to have some chocolate, you make a decision. And you know what? That decision has to be a decision that you feel happy about, that you feel guilt-free about. Because the guilt just creates inflammation, and the guilt is what will cause that food to have an even more unhealthy reaction in your body. So you have to be definite, you have to be purposeful about the nutritional decisions you make for your body. For example, I'm going out for a birthday dinner tomorrow night because it's my birthday next week. I'm going to an Italian and I don't normally have pasta, and I've made a definite purposeful decision when I go out tomorrow night to have gnocchi and a couple of glasses of wine, and that's my decision, and I'm happy with that decision. That's a guilt-free decision because that's my definite purposeful decision of what I'm going to do tomorrow night. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So those would be my top 5 tips for everyone to do. Definitely, I know that that can be difficult. That was the postman. Just that I got out of his way. He was just putting some post in the box. But those would definitely be my top 5 tips. And I would say the most important one is make purposeful decisions about food and don't feel guilty. So I'll give you an example of that, what that can look like. This is why you've got to be definite about your decisions. For example, someone's given you a box of chocolates. You have to make a decision. Are you going to eat the box of chocolates? Are you going to give the box of chocolates away? Are you going to have one chocolate a day? Are you going to share them tonight with a family? Like, what's your decision around those chocolates? If you make a decision to say have one a day, have one a day. If you make a decision to give them away, give them away. But what you can't do is make a decision to have one a day, end up having 5, then feeling guilty, then going into this guilt spiral. And that's where things start to spiral out of control, and you feel negative about your decisions, you feel negative about you, and it creates that shame. And that's where the problem lies. It's what we think about ourselves. So I really think that's one of the most important things, a bit of advice I can give to you in terms of your nutritional advice. Hey, great question. What is it that doesn't allow us to remain consistent with our eating habits, which we know? Well, one of them definitely is guilt and shame. So this is what I've learned over the years. The reason I make good decisions is because because I make decisions. I'll make a decision to have some chocolate, and I've made that decision and I feel happy about that. I make a decision to have a glass of wine and I'll feel happy about that. But those are the decisions I make, and I'm definite about those decisions. And I won't make a tentative decision. So, okay, there's chocolate there, oh, I shouldn't have it, oh, I want it, I shouldn't have it, I want it, I'll have it, oh, will I, don't know. And then you're creating this whole thought process, this whole talk in your mind. And that's where we start to come undone and we start to make bad decisions. So being consistent about feeling positive about the decisions that you make. Being consistent is about adding in these decisions slowly, and you have to be definite and purposeful. So adding good habits first, and then you can start to see where the bad habits sort of coming in. And you may get into bad habits as well because something else is going on in your life and you're feeling shame, or you're feeling guilt, or you're feeling negative, or you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling overworked. And when we feel all these emotions, we start to make decisions that actually aren't so good for us. So that's the best way I recognized in myself. The moment I relinquished control, the moment I allowed myself to do the things that maybe didn't suit me, but I gave myself permission and I was purposeful about those decisions, that's when I didn't need to have those anymore. I didn't need to have those bad things in my life, but it's about the decisions I make. So I don't eat chocolate like Mars bars and Snickers, and I don't eat regular ice cream, just don't feel like it. But I tell you the things I do like and the things I do feel like. I do like the Lindt really dark chocolate. So if I want it and I make a decision to have some, I'll have it. And if I eat 4 squares in one day and I make that decision to eat 4 squares, that's fine. That's all right. But, you know, I would never buy 2 blocks and eat 2 blocks in a day. So, you know, you have to know what your boundaries are, and allow yourself these bits, and you've got to take the guilt out of it. And that would be my biggest piece of advice. But we can go into this a little bit deeper, because I know keeping good eating habits can be difficult, but it's just about doing it over time, and it's just about bringing them in slowly. And you've got to be kind to yourself. That's the biggest thing. You've got to be kind to yourself, and you've got to do it out of love, not fear. Love for yourself, giving yourself good nutritional food. So I hope that helped today. I really had to think about that, think about what I thought was the 5 most important. So 5 most important is the quality of the food, making sure that you know what macronutrients and the balance, what ratio suits you, having your 4 to 9 cups of vegetables a day, so you're getting your 40 grams of fibre, knowing what foods cause inflammation, because inflammation is one of the biggest health issues, and that can cause so many things. So whether it's wheat, whether it's dairy, whether it's sugar, know what causes inflammation for you and reduce that. And the 5th one is eat guilt-free, eat without shame, eat without fear, eat for love, eat because you love yourself. Those are my top 5 tips, the last being what I think is the most important. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I just wanted to say this because I know sometimes it can get so confusing out there. There's so many bits of health advice, and I think just to narrow it down to that, and just to get started on that, I hope that you find that helpful. Thanks for joining. It was lovely to drop in. I'm going to get on with my day now. It's a busy day, and I'm hoping to go for a swim later. So have a lovely day, everybody, and thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.